Hey there, welcome back to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. You're just in time for our big game show, Dead or Alive. We're playing, got some great tickets today. Chicago, coming to Lucas Oil Live. It's in WinStar World Casino and Resort. They'll be here March 29th. Tickets now at winstar.com, but we're going to try to give away a pair right now on Dead or Alive. Thank you, Mr. Jovi. Welcome to Dead or Alive. This is the game show where I am going to list off 10 celebrities. You have to tell me if they're dead or alive. In today's special edition of Dead or Alive, all of today's contestants are lead singers. Well, I mean, some of them were lead singers, but we're about to find out which is which. We're going to start off today with Lisa in Dallas. You ready for Dead or Alive, Lisa?
Yes.
Are you a Chicago fan?
Yes.
Oh, well then, good. Let's get it started. Good luck, Lisa. We're going to start number one with an easy one.
Okay.
Lead singer of the Rolling Stones, Mick Jagger, dead or alive?
Alive.
Yeah, probably going to go on another tour. Lead singer of the 90s band Alice in Chains. His name's Lane Staley. Is he dead or alive?
Dead.
He is dead. Lead singer of Soundgarden, Chris Cornell, dead or alive?
Alive.
No, Monty's doing really good on this game through the window, though. Lisa, don't hang up. We'll see if it cycles back around to you. We're going to have to get some real big goof ups, though. Max in DeSoto, you ready for Dead or Alive?
Yes, sir.
All right, we're down to the lead singer of Twisted Sister, Dee Snider, dead or alive?
Alive.
It's alive. He is 69 years old today. Nice. Lead singer of Motley Crue, his name's Vince Neil, dead or alive?
Alive.
Alive. Monty, remind me to tell my Vince Neil story after the segment here. The lead singer of Van Halen, the real one, David Lee Roth, dead or alive?
Dead.
Damn it. I'm trying to give you tickets here. No, he's alive. Sammy Hagar's still alive too, isn't he? Making tequila. Jim in Mesquite, you ready for Dead or Alive?
Yes, sir.
All right. The 90s band is Sublime. Their lead singer, Bradley Nowell, is he dead or alive?
Dead.
Yeah, died in 96. Lead singer of Blind Melon, Shannon Hoon, is he dead or alive?
Alive.
No, he overdosed in New Orleans in 1995. Tom in Fort Worth. Hey, Tom in Fort Worth, are you ready for Dead or Alive? You only got two left here.
All
right. Smashing Pumpkins lead singer, his name's Billy Corgan, dead or alive?
Billy Corgan is dead. Alive. I'm sorry, alive.
Is that your final answer?
The final answer is alive.
I'm going to let you sit for a second. Okay, you're right. And finally, the last one.
I just seen them.
Yeah, right? They were here like a month ago.
Yeah.
The lead singer of the Dallas band legend, Drowning Pool, his name's Dave Williams, dead or alive?
He is alive.
No, he had some sort of weird heart condition. He died in 2002. So guess what? It does go back. Hey, Lisa.
Yes.
We're giving away tickets to see Chicago. The lead singer of Chicago, is he dead or alive?
Alive.
Yeah, whoever it is. I had to give him to you. It circled back around. You didn't stay on hold for nothing. You're the winner.
Yay.
Well, pretend to be excited, Lisa.
That shows my age.
Yeah. You're like, yup, won some tickets. That's what I do.
Yay.
All right, Lisa in Dallas, I'm going to put you on hold. Garrett will get you information. She's going to get emailed to her a couple tickets to see Chicago at Lucas Oil Live inside WinStar World Casino and Resort, March 29th. For the rest of us plebeian losers, we have to go to winstar.com. Winstar.com. Oh, yeah, my Vince Neil story. We got to go way back in time here. I had just started in radio here in Dallas. It's like 2002. I think this was 2003, actually. And we're going to have a big Christmas party. And this was back when radio made a lot of money, so we could get a ballroom at a big hotel and have like a band play. Who's playing? Vince Neil's playing. Vince Neil's playing our Christmas party. Damn, that's awesome. So Vince Neil's going to come in town. He's going to hang out with us. He's going to be on our show. We're going to get to party with him. This is going to be awesome. Oh, my God. You know how awesome it's going to be to party with Vince Neil? I'm like 26 years old, so I think I'm about to have the time of my life. Turns out Vince Neil is now sober. He's over there drinking and no duels, having some reasonable conversation about some very heady topics. I mean, he's really into news and geopolitics. And We actually got to bed before midnight and got to bed at a decent hour. That was my party night with Vince Neil. I missed it by about 7 years is where I missed the fun part. So, yeah, my Vince Neil story is terrible. Not that he did anything wrong. It's actually that he was a great guy. It's just doesn't make for a very good story now, does it? All right, coming up next, we have a couple of weird crimes here in Dallas. One of them is a giant jewelry heist from a family business in East Dallas. And another one in Northwest Dallas where you had 579 animals killed. The hell's going on with that? Well, it's even weirder than it sounds. Stick around. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, all you beautiful Texans. Welcome back to the James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. A new survey that was cited in Time Magazine shows Gen Z, the Zoomers, are drinking less alcohol than previous generations. As a big fan of alcohol over here, I find that quite disappointing. Guys, come on. Each generation is supposed to do better than the last. And for some people's book, this is an improvement, but it depends. Let's ask someone who is an expert in such situations. Jerry J-Man Joyner, host of Weed and Whiskey.
Smoke weed every day.
Jerry J-Man, are they just partying less, or are they substituting something else for alcohol? I don't know, weed gummies or vapes or something, or are they partying less?
They're not partying less. I think that they're looking for alternatives. Both THC drinks and mocktails are on the rise while we see alcohol trending down, especially with the younger folks.
Explain mocktails to the newly ordained in this conversation.
Okay, that's where they charge you like a lot of money, just like you was paying for a double Jack Daniels and Coke. Okay, they charge you a lot for that drink that they've infused different herbs and different type of non-alcoholic beverages to create you a cocktail, and they call it a mocktail. So there's no alcohol in it, but you get to pay the same price and tip the same price for that. But you get to be social.
Yes, it mocks whoever gets stuck with the bill, I think is what happens. I find those so disappointing. If you want something that tastes good, get a Dr. Pepper. Don't make someone squeeze mint into a ginger beer or something. Jerry, do you think they'll catch on? Are they just slow adopters? Because one thing I've noticed about the Generation Z is they don't jump right into driving when they're 16. They'll wait till they're 18 or just whenever they get around to it. Are they just slow adopters?
They're not slow adopters. They embrace THC products, cannabis, not as much smoking as we thought they would. They're also looking at these edibles, and they're looking at these drinks. These drinks are coming on really, really strong. Cannabis beverages offer relaxation without the effects of alcohol. No hangover the next day. But you still got to use common sense. You drink too many of those, just like you drink too much alcohol, you can have ramifications that you don't want to deal with. So
what's the status of legal THC in Texas? I was under the impression that there was a quite obvious loophole built into the law, and not a loophole. If it comes from a plant that's below a certain threshold, then it's legal. And I feel like someone's about to change that. Did I see that headline?
Well, you did. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, along with State Senator Charles Perry, want to ban hemp-derived products, but expand the marijuana program.
I don't know what that means.
That means they're going to tax you more for getting the same gummy. You could go to the corner store now and buy, for the most part, a legal, child-protected safety packaging, got a certificate of analysis at 7,000 retailers in Texas. But as soon as they get their way and ban intoxicating hemp, but expand the marijuana program, you could pay $20 for a pack of Bucka Buzz instead of $5. That's really what this all amounts to, in old J-Man's opinion.
How does our handling of the marijuana industry compare to our neighbors like Oklahoma and Louisiana? Are they doing a better job than this?
Well, Oklahoma, virtually everyone has a medical marijuana card. So they don't have an adult use program like we have in 24 other states, Ohio being the most recent state. Last November, they became adult use legal, in 2022. So in 2023, they started being able to sold about $300 million worth in the last 6 months legally to adults. So now Louisiana, it's a little different. It's not throttled down quite as much as we are here in Texas. So you can't buy marijuana in Texas except through the TCUP, the Texas Compassionate Use Program, which is very limited on what you can get and how you can get it and how doctors could prescribe that. But as I mentioned, you could go to 7,000 retailers here in Texas that have a license to sell hemp-derived products and get beverages, get gummies, get pre-rolled joints.
So do you think that's going to change this year?
You know, there's a lot of apprehension for the people in the hemp side. This is an $8 billion industry in Texas that just popped up in a few years. 50,000 people are employed in this. And what my concern is if they ban the hemp products that people are legally buying at stores and paying sales taxes on, people are still going to want this product. They're just going to have to go back to the street dealers. And therein lies why we continue to have street dealers, is because these illegalities in different states and the rules and the regulations makes a quagmire for those guys to still exist and sell it often for a lot less than what you would pay for it legally.
All right, Jay, man, what's coming up on the Weed and Whiskey podcast?
You know, we got a show coming up that, well, with the show we just dropped, I have a new manager. The guy that found Joe Exotic, Tiger King, a guy named JT Barnett, is my new manager, and we're working on a new thing called I Am J-Man going into 2025.
You got the guy from Tiger King? That's awesome. All right,
I got him real high. I got him real high back in my space cave, and all of a sudden he wanted to be my manager, so don't let the word out.
Yeah, just sign here. Everything will be bliss. Where do they find your work outside of WBAP, Jerry?
IamJman.com.
That's it. IamJman.
One last thing, real quick. You know, the Surgeon General, the outgoing Surgeon General, just in the start of dry January, said that they should be putting labeling on alcohol that says it causes cancer. Okay? Well, not using common sense causes stupidity. So, you know, we're going to label ourselves to death, it seems like, here in the very near future. But is there a play behind that? You know, is the big alcohol making a big move into marijuana is what J-Man thinks. So, thanks for having me. Talk to you soon.
Oh, man, now I kind of want to ask you about that, but we are out of time. Oh, well, I guess we'll have to have him back on. Because I did see about that warning label thing, but I was just going to ignore it like I do all the other warning labels on alcohol. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. Your thoughts, is Generation Z, are they just more responsible than we were or are? Are they healthier, or are they just substituting their party favors of choice? 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. I'll tell you what I think next. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome to the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Yeah, I'm a pretty good radio host, not a very good role model. I'm a big fan of drinking, so I hope this isn't influencing your kids in the back seat, but I am an adult and we can talk about adult things. 47 years old, I'm more than welcome to have a beer whenever I feel like it. Well, unless I'm behind the wheel of a car, obvious exceptions. But I'm a little concerned here when I see this survey that's cited by Time Magazine. Why Gen Z is drinking less. Now, I don't trust their answers on this. I do appreciate reading through it and sparking a wider conversation here, because alcohol consumption in the United States has risen overall. It's kind of risen most of your entire life up until this last generation, Generation Z. Now, that's defined as anyone born between 97 and 2012. You're Gen Z? Oh, you were born in 97, so you're like the first Gen Zer? All right. Do you drink? Garrett says he drinks occasionally. You don't have any drinking stories, though. You don't come in here like, how was your weekend? It's like, oh, man, I woke up behind some warehouse over by South Lamar. No, you don't have any of those stories. I don't think you're a real drinker. What, dude, you're in your 20s. You're supposed to come in every once in a while wearing the same thing you were wearing yesterday, smelling suspicious. No, your generation's letting us down. And look, I want you to be healthy, and I don't want you to be some homeless wino and destroy your life with alcohol. But there's almost I don't want to say a rite of passage either. There's a certain maturity that comes with it. It almost feels like this Arrested Development, this eternal adolescenthood that so many people try to stay in. They don't want to get married. They don't want to have kids. They don't want to get a real job. They don't want to wear a suit and tie. They want to remain kids their entire life. They want you to pay for their college loans. They want you to pay for their health care. So I think part of it is this generation is just a little slower to mature, and that doesn't really bother me. We have to adjust our expectations, because if they are late adopters, then this is something that will settle itself out, in just a few years. One of my suspicions, and I was just having the discussion with J-Man in the previous segment, is are they substituting other party favors over alcohol now? Weed's more abundant, and I don't mean the actual plant, but whether you vape it or have a gummy or a lollipop or whatever else they're doing, eye drops. What else are they doing with that? Surprised we don't do more stuff with vapes. Like, couldn't you do like a vitamin B supplement, or couldn't you do like a hangover cure in a vape? There's $1 million idea. You're welcome. But I also look at this Gen Z, and here's what I don't see in Gen Z. And my oldest kid is 14. I have nieces and nephews that are Gen Zers. So I have a little bit of observation with this. Almost none of them smoke. And I mean, I can't even think if I've been at like a concert and seen like a Gen Zer smoking, but none of the Gen Zers that I know, none of them smoke cigarettes. Whatever happened to cigarettes? That's going to be gone. It's amazing. It's amazing how pro smoking the world was when you were born. You could smoke on an airplane. You could smoke like when you got in your grandma's Crown Vic in the 1980s. Not only did it have an ashtray, the back seats had an ashtray. You had an ashtray in the handles of the back seats. I thought that was hilarious. I mean, I know you could just ash out the window, but you got to put your butt somewhere. Really, can't just toss it out the window. Can't pass it up. Everyone has to have their own personal ashtray in the car. That's how addicted my parents and the previous generations were to cigarettes. Now you can't hardly see cigarettes disappearing over the horizon. Now, if you go into a bar where they're actually smoking, it catches you off guard. You're like, whoa, what is this? 2001? This is crazy. But let's be positive here. We like to kick the next generation. Oh, they're dumb. Look, maybe they're not. Maybe this generation is just healthier. Maybe they've read about all the negative consequences that are attached to alcohol. Maybe it's not even like good health, like, oh, I want to live a long time and I don't want to destroy my liver. Maybe it's more like a weight gain thing. Maybe it's more based out of vanity, because that's where most of my healthy habits come from. Not that I'm really concerned about the elasticity of my aorta, but because I want to look as least disgusting as possible for Miss Parker.
Hi, Miss Parker.
So maybe it is about weight gain or some other general health thing. But not even mentioned in the Time article here was the fact that maybe it's a religion thing, like a religious. And I'm not saying like kids these days are more religious or more likely to be overtly Christian than previous generations. Just maybe the few that are a little more hardcore about it. I don't know. Experts that are cited in this article in Time, they don't have one answer either. They say, well, some of this may be the changing laws, because for most of us, you couldn't drink until you were 21. I bought my first legal beer at 18, because when I turned 18, it was still legal in Louisiana, and I'm from East Texas, so it's only like an hour and a half to Shreveport. And I actually drove out there when I was 18, walked into a bar, bought a beer, and the world was fine. There was no black hole that opened up and swallowed the planet. I didn't hit 28 people or a family of 4 on the way home. We've had the stigma that's attached to alcohol just slowly inching up as well. And some of the experts were saying alcohol's social reputation has changed. Okay, let's think about that. When you watch Mad Men, you saw Don Draper and Sterling Cooper, Draper Price, all those other guys. They were drinking at work. They had a little bottle of bourbon there. They would pour a little inch. They would drink it without even making a face or coughing or anything, just like real men, look like they were drinking apple juice. Was that normal? I wasn't here in 1961 when Mad Men was set. I have to assume it's true. They're smoking in the office. They're drinking bourbon in the office. Probably having an affair with their secretary in the office. Is that what they talk about when they say "Make America Great Again"? I'd like to be able to have some scotch while I'm at work. I think that means some people might mean it that way. So yeah, Gen Z. Maybe they are just a bunch of party poopers. Guys, I hold out hope that you can grow up, because my thoughts on alcohol, most people try and discourage it. You should be better. Not me. I'm pro alcohol, and I've taken the Bert Kreischer vow to never quit.
Never quit drinking. I will never quit drinking. I will always make sure that I can keep my body healthy enough so that I can always drink. I love seeing a sunrise with a cocktail, seeing a sunset with a cocktail, having friends walk into your house with a bottle of wine, getting on a plane. Can I get you something? Double Jack on the rocks, lots of rocks. I love the moment someone says, hey, we should get a drink, and you're not supposed to. That feeling, it's like a first kiss. You don't get that first kisses when you're married. You get to have those first drinks. At a brunch, someone goes, should we do mimosas? And then the waiter goes, actually, we have bottomless mimosas. And you're like, this is going to be the best day ever.
All right, coming up next, the forecast for snow. The rare snowfall has moved up. Find out when we're expecting it here in DFW in about 7 minutes. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome to the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. So we have a story here that this is a headline that you probably read and then you don't click through to get the rest of the story because the headline doesn't sound that interesting, doesn't sound like it's that convincing, doesn't really even sound like it's that important. This is one of those that if this goes the way it should go, it'll just be forgotten a week from now, never to return again. However, if this court case goes the wrong way, this could upset the apple cart of our republic, never to recover again. This is kind of a huge story, but only if it goes the wrong way. Now, let me just read the headline for you, and I bet you get this. I bet you understand this. Federal courts won't refer Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas to Attorney General over ethics. Now, why is this such a big deal? Well, because Thursday, just 4 days ago, they decided that Judge Clarence Thomas has agreed to follow updated requirements on reporting trips and gifts. So what's going on here? Well, someone is trying to upset the constitutional checks and balances between the three branches of government. And Congress, the legislative branch, is trying to get an upper hand on the judicial branch, the Supreme Court. Now, one of the problems that they see with the Supreme Court is once you're in there for life. And if we get a couple of bad justices in there, if we have a couple of Republican presidents that get to make some picks, we're stuck with these guys for life. And they don't like that. They want to be able to undo that. Well, the Founding Fathers didn't agree with that. The Founding Fathers specifically had these guys in these three branches with different levels of accountability to different groups for this exact reason. Now, Congress itself is supposed to be split into the People's House, the House of Representatives, and the Senate, which is supposed to be the state's house. But now we had the 17th Amendment that said the senators will not be selected by the legislatures of the states anymore, and they'll be popularly elected by the constituents of the states themselves. Big mistake there. So now we have two people's houses, just with different ratios of representation. So they kind of screwed that up already. So we already have a mismatch here. And if we've learned anything from Kay Granger being in an assisted living facility since July, and no one even knew about it until a couple weeks ago. She got to keep her job, and no one even noticed the difference in her abilities, or there was no complaints about her missing all these votes. The real calcification of power happens in Congress. If you're an incumbent, it's really hard to get knocked off of your pedestal. And so that's a really powerful seat to be in. It used to be that you were checked because something couldn't even get out of your branch of government unless it went through the Senate, which was what? The states controlled that. So the states have already lost a whole lot of power to Congress. Congress has actually conversely given up some of their power to the executive branch, the bureaucrats. They don't go in and they don't vote on all these regulations that determine how you're allowed to do business. They gave the EPA and OSHA these broad swaths of power, and then the bureaucrats actually write in the details on what the law is going to be. So they've gotten rid of some of the powers that they're supposed to use that could make them unpopular with constituents or donors or corporate interests. And so now they're trying to trade that and gather more power by subjugating the Supreme Court. Now, the whole part about the Supreme Court justices being able to get gifts and trips, that may seem distasteful, but how is it distasteful if they don't have to win an election, if they don't have to raise money, if they don't need that money, if they don't want that money, if their job isn't dependent on them getting money like it is for members of Congress or even the president? Then that just means maybe there's just rich people out there who think it's cool to hang out with the Supreme Court justice. Maybe they're fans. Maybe they just want to show their appreciation. Maybe they just want to go out to dinner with one. And, if you lavish gifts upon them, it doesn't matter. There's no recourse for a Supreme Court justice. Now, if you change that, now the gifts are buying influence. Now the gifts are the Supreme Court justices doing what Biden did and is selling access. But make no mistake about it. When they say, well, we just want to look into something, or we just want to study it, or we just want to have some ethics, or we just want to have some rules of the road, or some basic common sense regulation, that is merely an excuse to devise a system by which Congress can eject Supreme Court officials. And if you think they're going to do this based on whether or not they got some improper gifts and not politics, then you're incredibly naive. You're too naive to be listening to this show, that's for sure. But has there ever been any concern here? Because, this story showed up from, I saw it on WFAA.com, but it's an AP story. Has AP never been concerned about the gifts and the trips and the vacations that Ruth Bader Ginsburg took, or any Democrat Team Blue justice? If this has only become an issue now in the 248th year of the country, now that we have a solid conservative majority in the Supreme Court, then methinks you're not really concerned about the gifts. This is just an excuse for you to try and replace some justices you don't like with ones that you do. That's disgusting. And that will make the Supreme Court nothing more than just regular old politicians. They will have to play by the same rules that other politicians have to play by over in Congress. And look how corrupt they are over there. Look how much they rely, and you admit they rely on lobbyists. The lobbyists own them. The corporations have bought and controlled and paid for all these congressmen. Well, do you want them to buy and pay for the Supreme Court too? Of course not. So why do some people say that they support this? Because they don't like Clarence Thomas. Because they don't like the fact that the Supreme Court is actually making better decisions, not from their point of view, but they can't win. Their ideas can't win based on their merits alone. They can't go to the American public, propose a bill, say, this is what's in it. Now, don't you support it? They have to lie to you. They have to tell you the Inflation Reduction Act is going to do something about inflation when it's really just a green energy spending bill. They have to tell you the Affordable Care Act will make your health care more affordable when it's made it more expensive. They have to tell you if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. They're always lying to you. They're lying to you about this too. They're not really concerned about whether or not Clarence Thomas is being unduly affected by the gifts and vacations that he's receiving from his Republican benefactors. They're concerned about Clarence Thomas is going to vote in a way that does not fit the narrative. And look at how much they've been able to accomplish through the Supreme Court. Like gay marriage, they didn't go to the state legislature of all 50 states and have representatives from the people propose a bill and a majority of them voted in and do it the right way. Now, just with the wave of a wand, just with one decision, they in all 50 states got to rewrite marriage laws the way they want to. Whether they were right or wrong, it was an amazing power. It superseded the will of the people in all 50 states. Same thing that happened with abortion. They never got the law passed that made abortion legal. What did they have? They had Roe v. Wade. They just waved a wand and superseded the legislatures of all 50 states. And the people's representatives who went and made the laws in accordance with their constituents' wishes. They just were able to overturn all that. And so you see the power of the Supreme Court, especially if it can be abused. That's the point of this. That's the point of them going after Clarence Thomas. That's the point of them trying to seed doubt into the minds of the American public about how, oh, this is wrong. They shouldn't be able to just take gifts and trips and cash and whatever. Yeah, they should. That's not a flaw. That's a feature. That means they're not beholden to these people because they have lifetime appointments, because they don't have to worry about someone kicking them out. They don't have to worry about voters kicking them out. They don't have to worry about raising money so they can buy ads, so they can have an election team, so they can have ballot measures and petitions signed and paperwork filled out. That's a feature, not a flaw. And the only reason this gets so far to even be in the Associated Press article betrays a huge ignorance of the Constitution that is borne not only by the people pushing this, but the people in the media that are repeating it like it's normal. There's no need for an investigation into undisclosed acceptance of luxury trips for Supreme Court justices. This is a thinly veiled attempt to override the checks and balances in the Constitution. Make no mistake. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. Coming up next, we're going to be playing Dead or Alive for 2 tickets to see Chicago on March 19th at WinStar World Casino. The special edition of Dead or Alive today, lead singers. I'm going to give you 10 lead singers. You tell me if they're dead or alive next for Chicago tickets. If you want to play, you can go ahead and call in the James Show now, 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. Dead or Alive next on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.